Hello, I'm Sabrina and welcome to my channel. So today we are going to have a special video about a job interview for a senior Flutter developer. And here you can see I created a notes. The job title is Senior Software Engineer Flutter Mobile. Because recently I applied a job through LinkedIn and I went through this job interview experience. So I think I can share a little bit and it can help some of you looking for a job to know what to expect. So this company no longer hiring. I think it's okay to share how the interview is about. But I still have their job requirement, as you can see. So they are looking for senior software engineer, and they are using Flutter. They use web, RTC, video conferencing, and the requirement developing maintain Flutter app on Android, iOS, web, collaborate with different team. All the features, architectures, monitoring, and the requirement. 3-year plus experience in Flutter and Dart. Notable experience on crucial contributor to mobile application. Yeah, you can read. So I think I meet most of the requirement. I never worked with web RTC video. But most of the time, I have 5-year experience in Flutter and Dart. So I applied about 2 weeks ago, and through LinkedIn, and I was very happy. And the company's CTO sent me a message to arrange a first interview. So the first interview is it's general to get to know each other, tell me about your experience, your previous role, blah blah. And then he arranged a first technical interview. So that's the main thing I want to share, because this channel is all about learning Flutter and being better as a Flutter developer, right? So on the first Flutter technical interview, I was asked for simple, a more common Flutter question, and if someone else interviewed me, she is one of the developer in the team. So she asked me question like, what is difference between stateless widget and stateful widget? It's very common Flutter question. How do you manage state in your app? And I mentioned about, I used Provider. Later I moved to Riverpod because Provider had some issue. And then she asked me to explain, so what issue you think Provider has and why Riverpod is better. And another thing, but in my past experience in our company, we don't use any package, so we use a customized app architecture and state management solution. So I also explained those to her. But she asked a lot deeper question, but it's still in the more junior level, and there's a lot of common Flutter interview questions you can find online. It's some of these questions like what is inherited widget? How do you explain concept like that? I'm not super well prepared because I didn't know what to expect. But it was okay. And the second part of the interview, she asked me to create an app. She sent me a link for API. I can show you on the web, I think. So this is a website for the API. You can see. So this is on the interview. She sent me this API and said, okay, the requirement is create a Flutter app, fetch data from the API, and we want the app to display the name. I need to prettify to see clearly. We wanted to, it's so small, to get the, what is the name, and what is the other data? It's a Boolean data somewhere. Is it, where is, yeah, I can't even find it. But we need to find a name and another Boolean data to show, oh, this one is potentially header girls, yes or no. So you create a Flutter app and to show the data. And I have to code while sharing screen, and they will see what it is about. And I can go through this briefly. So I created a new Flutter app, and then because before I show you the process, so I got a little nervous because I didn't know this is to expect. And in my previous experience, we've been working with many larger production level code base, and we have our own helper function on fetching data, passing JSON. So I just use helper function from different service class. And to write an app from scratch, I haven't practiced for several years. So, and also there's often a lot of different way to do the same thing. And suddenly, during the interview, I have to write something. So it's a bit challenging, but it's very common question, a very fair question for a Flutter developer. So typically, you create API service, you write a function to return a list of data. Of course, you will need to create a simple data class. What did I do? Yeah, a data class with name and ask if headers or not. These are optional. I didn't. You only need two, and then you write a function to pass the JSON, and yeah. So I think these are options. You can. I use the Dart data class to generate all these, but this for map is most important one, and we will use this into the fetch function when you check the status, and you get the data, you decode, you get list object, which is here, because if you see the JSON, the name is under this property, and it's a list, and there's if you scroll down, there's yeah, it's a list of big data, right? And then you map through and to list to return a list of future data. This is step 1. Step 2. This is step 2. Step 1, step 1 you create the data class. Step 2, you create a list data fetching using the HTTP GET request, and then you create a screen. It should be I later changed the code myself, but during the interview I get wrote using a future builder and return list view .builder. But because the interview was short, in total 1 hour, and I didn't get time to finish the app, then they nicely allow me to finish the app in my free time, and later let them review. And after the first technical interview, I I wasn't feeling good. I thought, oh, it was so bad. I couldn't believe I performed not as good as I thought. But they are very nice. They arranged me second technical interview the next day. So the first interview was last Monday, and Tuesday I have a second interview with a different person. Again, I have no idea what to expect. And and by the second day I finished this app. I got some error. This is I changed myself after the interview, but basically return them the result of the basic app and push to the GitHub. And during the second interview, they didn't ask me about this code because I think they think it's very basic. And it turns out to be the person who interviewed me is a Flutter expert, and I feel very lucky to be able to have the chance to talk with him, and I really appreciate his time. So of course I can't search during the interview, although it's online, but we need eye contact. But the second interview is a lot about deep into Flutter framework. So they expect their the job is senior developer, senior engineer. So they expect you to solve some problem that maybe not easily get the solution by just Google search or someone else code copy and paste. There's times they need a customized solution that requires you to have a deeper understanding about the Flutter framework itself. A lot of questions related to question in the I see Flutter concept, yeah. Flutter architecture interview overview. They ask me you should know a little bit of layer model and how the framework works. And the first question I remember, is what is the key in the widget and when should we use key? Yeah, so that's a good one. And another question I remembered, we know the using the widget opacity is not very recommended. You should avoid if possible. But why? How the opacity widget works, and questions like what is theme class? How the if you go into the main.dart, you see theme, but theme actually take the type is theme data. I think it's one of the widget, but it's very different. They also ask me except stateful widget, stateless widget, what other widget do we have in Flutter, and how they work differently. So you are expected to go through a lot to not understand all of those, right? But you should know how it works and why. And there are some layout questions about sliver. If I use sliver, yes, I used. But how is the sliver constraint works different with let's say a container on the box constraint. So that's not easy to answer. And there's widget like a sliver field remaining. I think in the we can probably check sliver field remaining. Yeah, and you explain how. Yeah, I use this widget. I remember in one of the UI created I used, but it's hard for me to explain the detail, verbalize on how it works. I don't even remember the widget, but there's something about a sliver constraint. Can we search for something? Yeah, basically you understanding the constraint, the layout. So there's a lot of more advanced question about the framework, and I didn't answer very well. Yeah, and another thing is about my of course the state management is big topic, app architecture, but because the company I work is using a different way, and they wanted me to explain why like the difference between different architecture, the pros and cons, and which way to use. Yeah, so it wasn't going well, but they were very nice. They also arranged me a third interview on Wednesday, just last week. Third interview is not about Flutter, and it's slightly easier. But the person interviewed me is a guy working in the backend, so they would expect me to be someone supposed to work in front end will communicate a lot with backend. You use backend API, so questions is like if you were to create a chat app, for example, what kind of API would you design, and something like that. So yeah, system design, software like the step process on what do we need, what kind of API, what kind of service, and how is the UI. Let's say we have a delay. Let's say the user send a request to the server, and then the server may not respond immediately. Sometimes it can be very long. So how do you handle the request wait, and how the client app knows, oh, now we have a response? How do they know, and how do we let user to know? So yeah, again, the specific question is not that important, because every company is different, right? So if let me see, introduction. So most people learning Flutter would start from this Hello World kind of app, and obviously that's not enough for. And different company have different definition for senior. So for them, when they say senior, they usually mean it. And so after the third interview, I thought it went okay. And then I received their final result on Sunday. Saturday, yesterday. And they decided not to move on with my application because they said it's they got over 1,000 applicants, and so it's really hard to stand out from over 1,000 applicants, and they only want one person, very senior, who understands Flutter framework very well, and they also prefer someone who has native experience, because they asked me several times, have you worked in iOS native app? I have not, so I didn't get the job. And but I think it's a good experience to share, because some of you may be looking for a job and you know what to expect. And again, so like, which question is not important. What's more important is what is their company's requirement, and what is your experience. If your experience match their requirement, your skill, how deep it is, right? Some companies, they may look for someone they are more junior level, then you can work and learn. So next I want to talk about the next step. I think it's a lot of people may face the question like, should I apply for a Flutter job, or focus on Flutter, or maybe should I move to the React Native and learn different framework because there's more job. So I show you in the LinkedIn here. Here in Canada, if you search Flutter Canada, and I can't even search Flutter developer because they would give me a lot of result about developer, and you see 9,000 result, but most are very different requirement. It's nothing to do with Flutter. And but if you only search Flutter keyword, it's really not a lot of job opportunity here in Canada. Yeah, this is one, but I think they are on site. I'm not sure. Yeah, I haven't spent a lot of time looking for the job, but they show only 77 results, but many are not real Flutter, like hybrid. This one is about React Native, or some say mobile developer. They may be the native mobile developer, not a cross-platform. Anyway, not a lot of job here, but I know in many other countries there are still a lot of Flutter job, and the question is, because Flutter is relatively newer framework, so it's reasonable. Most big company does not have a position for Flutter developer. So should you stay with Flutter because it's cool, it's very good, good performance, good making apps, or should you go for other framework because there's more jobs? I'm not here to give advice because, you know, I didn't even get a job. Who am I to give you advice, right? But I think for me, I would want to continue learn more about Flutter, because if you Google search the Flutter, usually people compare Flutter with React, and you get a lot of results. I did a little research, Flutter versus React, and you will see many articles 2002, and I read some of these, and overall the conclusion is, if you see how they designed to work, and Flutter indeed has a lot of advantage on the app experience, on the UI rendering, on the performance. And if you follow Flutter each year's annual or seasonal kind of updates, and you see the community is very active, the team is very very key on developing this. This is not some old abandoned technology, and there's a huge community actively working behind. So I think the future is very bright, especially with the Flutter game engine and the new AI integration. There's a lot of opportunity. But it can take time for some country to catch up, and often it's a smaller intermediate company will adopting Flutter because the smaller team is easier to change, right? Yeah, but again, it's your personal decision. For me, I think I will continue with Flutter. So here's a question. You can before I learned Flutter, I actually started with full stack web development. That's my first software experience, and then I learned about Flutter. So and then I also learned React before. I made some simple React app, but the question is, should you learn a lot of this framework to try your opportunity, right? To try the chance, because if you not just Flutter, if you just search software engineer, there's so many, and each has a very different requirement. Some want you to learn Python, some maybe use Java, or this one they require some experience with PHP, MySQL. I kind of know how the SQL works, but I haven't worked a lot into this. So the question is, should you learn a lot of different things or focus on one? And usually a good advice is to be broad, so you have more different skill, and you have more job to apply, and you can do more things in the company, and that is very true. I think, but again, it's not practical for some person to learn everything and still in the deeper level. So I think it's good to understand overall different technology. You can learn the basic introductional level, different framework, different language. It's good to know 2 or 3 programming language, and then focus on 1 or 2. Yeah, and to understand deeper. For me, I think in Flutter, there's still so much to learn. There's no reason for me to abandon the framework, abandon learning deeper about Flutter just because there's little job currently, right? I personally don't spend a lot of time looking and applying jobs. I like to spend more time on learning and building more apps. For me, the one I like Flutter most is I really enjoy the app building process. So I like to create stuff, but eventually I will need a job too, and we will see. And I will keep update. So that's it for today. And in my channel, if you see earlier video, I am going through Flutter course, which is called with Android's Flutter course. But I'm going to change a little bit. So currently we are, I think if we go to YouTube, currently I made a video until the channel module 5. So on this playlist, that's the order.
Hello.
So we have module 1, part 1, module 2, module 3, module 3. So we are going to learn module 5, but for module 5 I plan to change a bit, and I created my own repo for this course. It's not going to be completely follow his course. I migrate the code into my own repo. I think I will show you to see what to expect. And my GitHub, yeah, here, new complete Flutter course. The syllabus is still similar with the Flutter complete course, but the progress each module is going to be different, because when I fork other people's repo. I can't push changes, and the branches they have is also a bit confusing. So I like to create my own and have my own my own branch. Currently I have 2. So the module 1 and 4, because we already have video until module 4, so I don't want to redo all these. So module 4 will be the most updated one, and the new video will be module 5. And the plan is to finish this. And for those who didn't purchase the course, you can follow along, right? And I'm planning to add different style and more analyze and make the video quicker and more useful. Basically, I understand my video is long and too much, too boring. And after that, there will be a lot of tutorial and code lab. Then we can live coding to create different Flutter app. Yeah, so and everything related with Flutter, and I like to share. I also spend some time to have a better understanding on all the providers in Provider package and Riverpod package. So I plan to make a separate video about this one, and I pushed the code into my repo, so you can see them. The next video you will see, and it's which one is it? This one? It's different. Again, yeah, this one. So, well, I will explain the difference on Riverpod and a Provider and Riverpod, and because a lot of provider will be confusing to me, so I spend some time to understand better. And so basically I like to keep learning and share, either learn together, to make it more interesting, and share what I learned to other people, and hopefully to like it's like a big maybe not big learning community where we are all sharing together. And thank you so much. That's all for today. And if you like the video, please like and comment on whatever suggestion you have, and what you want to see someone doing for Flutter educational channel. Thank you, and bye bye.